Alright, we're just doing it. Another talk. Brie and Bjorn Talk. It's been a while. I guess I noticed that I would like to make a little change. Brie was always up for it anyways, and be more concrete about like picking a topic that we talk about before we start talking, which my nature would be, as I already shared, just let it flow and see what comes out. But I noticed that a lot of people cannot relate to what I'm saying because I'm just way too far out there. So I wanna anchor it more in like experience and what I notice, and I think for Brie it would be very easy. And I try to try. How about that? The man that doesn't try, that doesn't use the word try, is actually trying to do something.
All right, go for it. What are we gonna try?
Well, what I thought, and I mentioned that earlier. Maybe we want to talk about. Oh, let's just build it up a little bit before we say what we talk about. I don't know if we experienced it maybe at times, but if you're in a relationship for a little while, after like that first butterfly feeling is gone, and you are maybe even having children, you have a job, you have a mortgage to pay, and all that stuff, and you find yourself what do you find yourself?
Stuck?
Yeah.
Dull. Numb.
Maybe all of that. Yeah. Disconnected from the love that you were feeling in the first place. I think that's kind of like oftentimes when we go into like a love affair, it kind of starts, or it begins when you have some time off, like on a vacation or on a weekend, or if you're doing...
Or a night out.
A night out, yeah, whatever. If you take off from your regular life and then you meet this other person, and there's magic there, and you're just totally attracted, and you start hanging out, and you're in love, and you decide you want to stick together or stay together, whatever they can look like, start a family. It doesn't have to, but it can. And then you start to experience how this magical connection looks like in the sort of brutal bright light of the day. And that is a challenge, I guess, in a relationship. Like the magic might still be there, but you can't see it anymore because it's sort of disguised and covered behind writing out bills or changing poopy diapers and that kind of stuff. Huh?
Yeah.
So I thought maybe talk about the experience and just in the first place bring awareness to that this is easy what happens, because I think people they feel like the magic has gone. We're not in love anymore. So, but maybe that's not even that also happens, of course. But maybe that's not even the reason. The reason is maybe just that we are not aligned with seeing the magic anymore.
Yeah, not plugging into the connection anymore.
Yeah. And maybe also living a life that is sort of magic deprived. There's like the real world, like see if that works in the real world, huh?
Yeah.
And maybe we want to create a real world that has some magic in it, so that a relationship that is built and based on love and magic can actually sustain itself.
Yeah. I had a thought that just went away a minute ago.
Well, it'll come back, I'm sure.
It will come back.
Or maybe not. Maybe something even more awesome will come up.
Yeah, what you're talking about, the magic, it is, I feel it's so easy. I think we're trained to fall into this real world where we, we're taught to do the things that we do. We pay the bills, we get our jobs, and we have children. Some of us have children, and get busy, and then we get our kids in lots of extracurricular activities, and there are beliefs we have about how it needs to be, and part of those beliefs are that it has to be hard. Some of those beliefs are that once you have kids, your relationship just isn't the same anymore. And on one level, that's true. It's not the same as it was without kids, but it doesn't mean that it can't somehow contain the same kind of magic. But that's what I think a lot of us lose along the way, because we haven't learned how to stay tapped in with the things that pull us into busyness and into worry and all of these things that are really encouraged in society today. And I think there are some practices we can do to bring ourselves back to that. But the first thing, I believe, is recognizing that we've fallen away from it. And that's actually maybe the hardest part, because you just go and go in your life, and you do the things that everybody has told you need to do. I'm sorry, these are mosquitoes and flies. They're all over.
Yeah, we love all creatures, just not the mosquitoes.
And so we learn how to create struggle, how to maintain struggle, how to do these things. And in that struggle, we often don't even realize that we have lost that connection. Sometimes it's a few years before you suddenly look at your partner and go, who are you anyway? It can lead to, I don't even like you, because you haven't been connected, you haven't been coming together in that magical place to remember who, first of all, who you are, and then who the other person is. So these are all things.
Important point there.
The very beginning is realizing that we very quickly, very easily lose track of who we are, kind of what really drives us, what fires us up. And I suppose that's easy to do as a single person, but it's even easier to do when you're in a relationship and you're working through the dynamics of being two people together, and then even easier when you're a family with children, because that's a whole new level of taking care of many stories at once.
Yeah, there's we our siblings, friends, like they end in our memory. There's like those years when the kids are like 1 and 3. Most of us have the kids so close together, because how else are you going to do it? There's no pretty way of doing it, It's a wonderful experience, wonderful adventure, but man, it doesn't look pretty at times. Mm-hmm. And I notice that in a lot of those relationships, there is disconnection happening. I mean, maybe it's just naturally, but also I think maybe we can already recognize this disconnection and start to balance it with connecting activities while it is happening, and not just like 20 years later when the kids are out of the house, like start it over again, which is also okay, but it doesn't have to be that way. We had the experience, we definitely for a few years, we had some major disconnection going on. Then we remembered the magic too, so we never really thought about splitting up. We remembered that magic, and that kept us together. But man, there were times it was really not fun being a couple or a family.
Yeah, really painful and separated. I remember the first time after about 5 years of being with Bjorn, and we already had 2 kids who were 4 and 2. And I remember one day in our little house in Viroqua here, over on the other side, over on Rock Avenue, and it was the first time, it had been a while since I'd felt connected to you, and one morning I looked at you and I actually had a feeling for the very first time of, I was just irritated. I was not feeling good about who we were together, or how I was behaving with you, or how you were behaving with me. And as soon as that came up, I had this panic, like, I haven't felt that before. I don't want to feel like this is awful, or he's ugly, or whatever it is. I mean, you can't imagine that, but I had that moment of feeling like, I don't even want to look at you. And instantly I brought myself back, almost unconsciously, I brought myself back to the first day or the first weeks that I knew him, and just looking at him and having that feeling of knowing that we are connected, knowing that there's something between us and through us. And it shifted things for me again. It shifted it right back, not right back to that place, because there was some work to do, but I was really conscious of not wanting to just hop into that rabbit hole where it just gets darker and deeper and worse. And that was really amazing for me to go, ooh, I can stop this right now. I can remember who we are.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that. I felt more like, like traditionally I would probably, I'm trying to cover up the sun a little bit here so that you can actually see us. So I'm trying to be extra tall here. Yeah, my natural, or not, it's not natural really, but my learned instinct is to run away from trouble. You know, like I don't like to be confronted. I don't like to be in an argument. It has changed actually, but at that point I was there. So Brie would be like, yeah, noticing our relationship isn't working right now. Let's do something about it. And I'd be like, I don't hear you. I don't want to hear you. It's just fine. Right? Yeah. So I'm not saying right or wrong here, but it can be that tricky that in a relationship also we both come from different poles, and then we have to find a middle point where we can meet again. And what came to my mind is, so people they like, oh yeah, that's very interesting what you say. So what is the practical advice now for us? You know, what are we gonna do if that's happening to you, or since it is happening, or when it's happening to us? Yeah, or maybe it is already happening. So practical advice is, first of all, notice, be mindful. You know, like so, and that is maybe the number one remedy for just about everything.
I guess so.
Is mindfulness, in my view. Just if you don't notice it, it's just subconsciously like eating away and undermining your whole life experience. So how can we get more present? I guess, you know, that's what it would be. How can we be more conscious? So it's interesting, huh? If I talk about being conscious and present, people are like, yeah, whatever, you know, like I have like a miserable relationship and I want to know what to do about that. I don't want to hear about presence. But it is related, you know. That's where I'm saying, like, it's kind of cool to actually have like an actual problem maybe, or like a challenge of somebody saying like, hey, my relationship isn't working, and then I have a chance to come back to my speech about presence, I guess.
I mean, it takes some amount of presence, first of all, to notice that there is something going wrong, to actually acknowledge. I mean, maybe that's it. You can notice and not acknowledge, but noticing and acknowledging is a different thing. And that requires a bit of presence to say, whoa, okay, I see what's happening here. And so anybody who's come to that point already has some kind of access to presence. And it's probably different for everybody. Can I continue with this, or did you want to continue with that?
No, that's okay. I'm just realizing I think we want to keep this short too.
Yeah, we want to keep this short. So we'll just give a few little tips, because we have so many. We can share more later. But the accessing, the noticing and acknowledging is already implying that there's a bit of presence there, that we're able to see it and say, okay, this is not feeling good, instead of just pushing it under and moving it away and distracting and moving into other things. And everybody has a different way to access presence, I think. But some ways that are pretty common, and ways that I think I've experienced, are through my breath, which can also be in meditation or not in meditation. But through my breath, when I start to feel the tension, or I feel the tightness, the compression, the discomfort, I try to remember to just really come into my breath. The inspiration, you know, you inspire, expire. As you inspire, you're connecting to all of yourself, all of you that knows everything there is to know. And with that breath, you can start to calm down. First of all, you can start to find a bit of center in that place of discomfort. And when you start to find that place of center, there's a beautiful butterfly flying between us here on the screen. You can access who you are, who you remember yourself to be, your essence, and you start to remember maybe also who your partner is. But most importantly is you start to remember who you are, because that's where you start to access. That's where we all start to really access any kind of healing. It doesn't come from out here. It's always coming from in here. I give you a little chance.
Yeah, that is a cool little incident there with the butterfly. I really like that. It's our pet butterfly. We just have to have him just for like when we talk, so he can show up here. Come here. Hey. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean the beauty about that is that you have the power to. You're not at random. You're not the victim of like a miserable relationship most of the time, or it is a possibility, but you are actually co-creating. So, and by you stepping up and showing up and being present, you have a major chance at shifting this relationship to like a meaningful, to a life relationship again. Huh? So it's I like that. The bad news is there's probably nobody out there that will save your relationship other than yourself. I mean, for some people that is a problem. They want somebody out there to like take it away from them, but in my experience, that's not available. If I don't show up, nothing happens really. Right. Only on the surface.
Help is available.
Yeah,
but
help.
fixing it for other people is not available. But you can find help. You can access ways, to learn more about how to communicate. So that's what we have a lot of experience in, is communication, conscious communication, reconnection, presencing, represencing. And in that conscious communication comes a lot of honesty and
my favorite word, transparency.
Transparency, there it is.
Just put it on the table. If you hold it back, if it's becoming secret, it almost always turns into some undermining force. Huh? It's got to be, here it is, here I am.
But again, we come back to the part before that is, for me, I look at what's happening in my life, and for many people, this may be hard to understand, because it can take some work to get to this point, but when I see something's not going right between us that feels uncomfortable, I now know that it absolutely has something to do with me. I don't know if I ever again will be able to say, it's you, you're being a jerk.
I'm off the hook, right on.
And that's really, really awesome, because I have chosen to step out of victimhood, and even though that's scary, if you've spent much of your life being in that position and knowing that you have some power as a victim, you always have ammunition. If you want to be a victim, you can always have ammunition. But when you want to step out of it, it can be a little scary at first, but when a person steps out of victimhood, everything opens up. So now you have to take responsibility for yourself, but you see that you can. You see that it is at every moment an opportunity to say, who am I here? How do I feel about this? What will I do about this? Instead of, this person's doing this to me and I can do nothing about it and I'm so helpless. So I think we need to put this into segments. I think we need to do a few videos. This is just like a taster, but there's so much more and so many levels. It's always like peeling the onion. You can say, well, this needs to happen, but then if you peel that back, you go, oh yeah, but first this needs to happen. Oh, wait. Oh, and you get to the center deeper and deeper.
Yeah, what is the center anyways? But that's for next time. We will talk
center?
about the center. Huh? Good luck. You start thinking about it already. What or who or which is the center anyways? Huh?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Ciao.
Okay, ciao. Oh, here, let's just step out of this picture and then have this beautiful. Maybe the butterfly's going to show up again when we get out of here.
Okay.
Butterfly.
Aw.
What's his name, anyways? I don't know.
Frank.
Fred. I was thinking Fred, actually.
Oh, Fred.
No, no, Fred.
Okay.
Here it is. Oh, it's just my hand, I guess. Well, whatever.